We're back, babe.
We're back.
They gave us a second chance.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to Love and Real Estate, you guys. We are so happy to be back with you this evening. And we've got some hot topics that we're going to share and talk about tonight. And guess what? We also have been blessed to determine that we had some people that was, calling us after the last show and said, look, we really want to hear more from you guys in one setting. And so we've now extended the podcast show to 1 hour. So yay!
So
that's going to be great.
We'll be with you for 1 whole hour.
One whole
hope
hour.
That you will stay with us and and please, feel free to comment, ask any questions as we go along.
Yes.
Through tonight's topic.
Yes.
Or topics.
Yes. So you want to know what we're going to talk about?
What are we talking about? No. First, I got to say.
Oh, okay. Let's see what
this is love in real estate, and I just have to say how beautiful you look.
Oh.
You look so wonderful today.
You kind of deepened your voice a little bit. Was that so that you could make me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside?
Did you get a little tingly? Let me do it again. You look so beautiful.
It's kind of spacey AC.
Hold on. You looking so beautiful, baby.
No. Chester the Molester Van.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, let's just stay in our own mind space tonight. Right. Let's just be Felix. I'm gonna be Rashida. We just go kind of
some points there.
No points, 0. It was absolutely goose egg. But anyway, good try, babe. I'm glad of that. But I do receive your comment that you think I look really nice. Because you know what? I did not have time to go to the hairstylist today, so I had to.
I can't tell. It looks wonderful.
Do my hair myself.
I had to do my hair myself too. So
I'm sure it took you quite some time.
It took me a while to get it all flat ironed and everything. So. But it looks pretty good.
It does look good. Okay, well, let's jump into the topic tonight. So the topic tonight, what do you think everybody asks? What does everybody, when we go to the grocery store, we're out with our friends, we go to dinner, the topic of the year has been the market.
This absolutely
it has been the market. What in the world is going on in our market? Why are we having such a market? We normally don't have this kind of market in the state of Mississippi. And then we've got friends all over. We've got friends in Georgia. We've got friends in Florida.
It's nationwide.
It's nationwide. Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah. It's nationwide. So we thought that this show would be dedicated to answering questions about the market and how to maneuver and navigate in this crazy real estate market that we're in, that we are really operating in a seller's market in most areas. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, that's where we are. That's the market we're in. I think having been doing real estate so long, over 16 years, understanding the market trends and the real estate cycles is very important. Mm-hmm. And we just happen to be in one of those cycles called a seller's market.
Yes.
And so let's just talk about what a seller's market is.
Well, I think we need to throw back a little bit because we need to talk about how did we get here? How do we get to this market? So let's talk about, because before we've been operating for years in some regard. Now, we've had some seller markets in certain neighborhoods and communities, but primarily we've been always operated kind of in a mixed buyer's market, more buyer market than anything.
The buyer's market has lasted for a while. Buyers have a little more control than anything. But this is something I don't know that we've experienced in a long time.
No.
The last time we experienced it,
it was a mortgage meltdown.
The market crashed. So
right. We're not in that market.
Yeah. So, but there are some differences to this seller's market.
Yeah.
As it relates to the last seller's market where the market actually crashed.
Yes. So what is a seller's market? Let's just throw that question out there to the broker because he swears he is so knowledgeable and he just has so much brain power up there. And so let's just go ahead and put him to the test. What is a seller's market, Mr.
Seller's
Walker?
Market.
The broker, let's go ahead and talk about who call you who you are.
Well, a seller's market really is just what it says. The seller has more control of the market. Basically, it's a supply and demand issue. There are more buyers out there that are looking for homes than there are homes for buyers to purchase.
Right. And we kind of got there, not to cut you off, we because I skipped the question, but we kind of got there. We came out of COVID. We went into COVID. We were scared stiff. I said, oh, Lord, I remember praying, Jesus, please let us not just go up in smokes in terms of just being able to sell real estate and maneuver, because it was a lockdown.
Yeah.
And then the governor made us essential workers. Some people didn't like that. They didn't think that we were so essential.
Glad he did.
But we're glad that he did. Because, at the end of the day,
have somewhere to stay.
people had to have somewhere to stay, and they had to also, they were in a place where, life changes creates business for us. Wouldn't you agree?
Right.
So, people that are getting married, having children, jobs relocating to the state, all those life changes, that business had to keep going to support it.
That's right.
The hotels were booked. Apartment complexes were booked. And so we had to move real estate.
And believe it or not, it was, most agents, I think, will tell you that this has probably been their best year, or 2020 was probably one of the best years ever.
One of the best years they had, that's right.
For us. So, it's just been crazy.
Right.
Literally.
But we came out of 2020 on high. We were selling everything. We were able to maneuver and navigate in that market. And then we land in 2021 when we really didn't know what we were going to go into in 2021. A lot of people thought that the bubble was going to burst and that we were just going to be dormant again, scratching at pennies, the whole shebang. So in your opinion, what happened in terms of getting us? And also finish the question, what kind of market is the seller's market?
Well, again, supply and demand deals, basic economics. We don't have enough houses for the number of buyers we have. Therefore,
it's an influx.
If me and Rashida are fighting for the same thing, then somebody's going to offer more money for it.
Right.
And so, basic economics, prices go up.
Yep. And
that's kind of what we're seeing. We're seeing the prices increase on housing. We're seeing the sellers get 6, 7, 8 offers, if not more.
Yeah, I had one house I listed. We've had several houses. One house I listed, it was over in Ridgeland. And I mean, we got so many offers within an 8-hour period that I remember that I was so frustrated. I hate to say the word frustrated because you should be frustrated getting offers as a listing agent. So let me just not say I was frustrated. I was concerned because I did not want to miss anybody. Because as an agent, you have to present all offers to the seller.
That's right.
And so it was just so nerve-wracking to try to funnel all those offers to that seller, and people were fighting over. They were calling you every 5 minutes. And remember, I put that property on the market when we were going on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
And so never to do that again, I hope. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I worked the entire way to the vacation house, and then I got there. And you remember, it was like 10:30 at night, and I was still on my phone working those offers.
So real estate agents are working really hard. It can actually be stressful in a sense. And, it's exciting and stressful at the same time. Great for sellers,
Yes.
and it's good for the market, to have these different cycles. How did we get here? Of course, COVID had a lot to do with it.
COVID had a lot to do. COVID had a lot to do with it, too, from a standpoint that, we work a lot in relocation. So we work with a lot of clients from relocation companies that move people around. A good example of that would be Entergy.
Right.
In one year, we probably had, 7 or 8 different candidates
people
coming through
for jobs.
And so forth. Exactly. And so they were moving around.
Right.
And then we would relocate them back out because some of them were just here on assignment, maybe 1 or 2 years. And so that inventory was moving.
Right.
And then we got into 2021. And everybody sent everybody home.
People
they
working
work from home,
right? Not moving around as much. So, but you still have people that have the need to buy a home. Mostly those first-time home buyers.
Oh gosh, that are now my first-time home buyers.
They've gotten to a point where they can purchase a home, or they've gotten married, or whatever. So that group of buyers are still out there, and they come all the time. So you got that influx of buyers, but then you have the sellers who are not moving.
Put. That's right. And you also have interest rates. Interest rates played into that influx of buyers as well.
Right.
Because
it's a great time to buy. I mean, you can get I mean, these very good interest rates.
Exactly.
Buyers can afford more home than they would have. Yeah.
And then we've moved some buyers around that we got. We had that sweet little couple that we put in a house out in Brandon. They were getting married. They decided to go buy a house first and forego the big wedding because they wanted to take their money and buy a house and get a good interest rate. And so they didn't go with jumping to do the wedding first. They did the house first. And we went through, 10 houses before that sweet little buyer found a house.
Yeah.
That was tough. But their interest rate was 2.75 on a 30-year mortgage.
It's absolutely
and we replaced their apartment rent. Their apartment rent was, I believe, $1,100. They bought a house that had completely been renovated, and their mortgage payment was $1,085. I remember like it was yesterday.
Wow.
And so, why wouldn't they buy? Why wouldn't they start building equity?
We're going to talk about how to navigate in this crazy market for buyers and sellers.
Right.
We're going to get into that. But, how we got here from COVID, and we're running into a issue where sellers don't have anywhere to go either.
Oh, no.
So it's a combination of things. I want to sell my house.
Right.
I want to take advantage of this, all this equity I now have that all of a sudden I can make all this money on my house.
Right.
But they say, well, Felix, where can I go?
Where can I go?
Where am I going to go?
Where am I going to go?
Because when I sell my house, I now become a buyer.
Right. Operating in the same lane.
And so now I'm out here in this sea of, just craziness trying to fight for a house. And, I'm probably going to have to bid over list price or whatever, One of
the things I can say about this, though, Felix, just to kind of settle things down for our viewers, because this is a good market. It's a good position to be in. There are some benefits to every side of this coin. There's benefits from a seller netting the most profit that they probably would ever net. There's some benefits to sellers that had the worst houses in 2020 that didn't sell in 20.
Oh, yeah.
And they have multiple bids this year, which is crazy.
This is the time to sell your house. If seller's market, if you ever thought about selling your house, or you had a house on the market at one time
that didn't sell,
you got a kind of unique home.
That's right.
All homes have their uniqueness.
Whether it's age or the style of the
now's the time. I mean, the window is open, and you don't want to miss it. If you're a seller out there, I mean, now's the time. I guarantee you, you can make so much more than what you probably paid for it even a year ago.
Yes,
in some cases even a month ago.
We had one house we saw that went on the market. They bought it in December. That house in Reunion is back on the market this year, less than 6 months down the road, and they're asking $100,000 more for it. And when I passed it yesterday, it had an under contract sign on it.
Wow.
So, tell me if this is not a crazy market. But
give you an example. How prices increase.
Yes.
So we do, purchase homes, fix them up, and put them on the market, or flips, or whatever they call it.
Now he's getting to the part that stresses me.
We do a few of those. We did one.
The investments.
In Clinton. And when I did my numbers on the house before I bought it, I said, if I fix it up really nice, I should be able to sell this house for $165,000, right?
Jesus, please let it.
So it took us about 3 or 4 months to get it finished.
Because you gutted the entire house.
And which that was a little frustrating, but it was a blessing in disguise because houses around it kept selling and the price kept going up and going up and going up. I said, oh my God, now I can sell it for this.
Yeah.
Well, now I can sell it for this. Well, at the end of the day, end up selling that house for $185,000 when my valuation was at $165,000. So a $20,000 increase in about a 4-month period. So crazy. And the person
it had multiple offers, and the person that bought it was an investor.
The person that bought it paid cash for it.
He paid cash for it.
Right.
I mean, talk about the Lord answering my prayers.
Nothing. So I was like, wow.
You got a praying wife.
I do.
Because I prayed. I asked the Lord Jesus.
You were mad at me when I bought that house.
I was, because that we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end of the segment about communication. Because one of the things, our rule of thumb is that we don't buy assets without talking to the other person. So let's not get in a tip about it right now.
On it without you.
Oh my Lord, this guy is
I didn't close. You knew about it when we bought it.
I knew it after you had made the contract. But once again, you know, love and marriage, we're going to get through that in our segment on communication, because I think it's important to talk about that. But I do want to say this before we go break. I remember seeing at the beginning of this year, because I was a little nervous. I said, oh boy, what are we going to do now? And I remember, because people had stopped moving. We didn't see houses coming on the market in February.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
And then normally in February, you see people just calling, putting houses on the market. And then I remember sitting up in the bed, and I said, oh boy. And Dave Ramsey was on some kind of the Today Show or something. And somebody called in and said, hey, do you think this is a good market? What are we going to do with this market? You know, should I buy, sell? And he said, do both. You ought to sell high and buy low. He said, and if you have to go to an apartment, it's good, because prices are never going back down.
We're up against a break. We'll be right back.
Well, I have to correct myself. I said sell high and buy low. It's no buying low. It's buy now, is what he said.
Now,
he said buy now, because he basically said that we have an influx of pricing, and that inflation has happened in the housing market just as it has all around. If you go to the grocery store, a gallon of milk is totally different today than it was 2 years ago. And he said specifically that we weren't going to go back, because I think people were anticipating that the bubble would burst, prices would settle down again, the market would settle down again, and people will come back and buy and put the house in the market faster and so forth. And he said that's a myth. He went on to say that if you are smart, you should be selling now and buying now. Now, of course, we have a little difference in that, because I told you that and you were ready to sell, which
I already
scared
sold my
me to
house.
death. Yeah, so I told him he wasn't really talking to us. He was talking to everybody else.
So sell your house, okay? Don't worry about where you're going. Just sell it. Call us. And we'll sell it. We'll find somewhere to go.
How do you navigate? So how do we navigate? Let's talk about how do we navigate as a buyer in this market?
As a buyer, all right. So buyers, you really do have the tough end of the stick here.
Oh wow, that's kind of. Just throw it.
It's really tough. I mean,
it is tough.
We're working really hard as realtors out here for our buyers. I mean, I don't think we've worked this hard
not
ever
in terms of buyers.
For a buyer. I mean, it can be very frustrating for a buyer because almost, I would say, 99% of the homes that are nice, you know, or some even not nice, get multiple offers on them.
Yeah.
So you're as a buyer now, you're always competing with other offers. So, you know, as to when we used to could ask for.
Well, before you get into that, not to cut you off, but I think the most important part of this that we need to drive home is in this market, a buyer, a client, someone who's looking to purchase a house needs a realtor.
Yes, let's start there. You
Because
definitely can't navigate this market.
Navigating this market without a real estate agent has got to be even tougher.
No.
Because there's so much that you just don't know as a buyer, as a client, that you would gain with the expertise of a real estate agent.
Right. You need to definitely hire a real estate professional to represent you. You need representation. You wouldn't go, have an attorney or go into a trial or whatever without representation. Some people do, and guess what? They always lose, right? Have you ever?
They not always lose, but they have a tough time winning.
They always lose. Have you ever heard of somebody? I'm representing myself, and then they win the case? No, I always lose. So get you some representation, and I'll say this for the buyer. Most all the time, there's no cost associated with it. In some instances there may be, but the majority of the time, hiring a real estate professional to represent you doesn't cost you anything, or it would cost you very little to have representation, and you want that representation, especially in this market.
Yeah, and the other thing is you nailed it. At the end of the day, we don't charge any upfront fees. At least we don't in terms of our company. And so we really do work really hard on the front end because a buyer rep is also going to teach this new client how to maneuver in this new world. Because see, a lot of times when we got buyers, we sit down and we have what we call a buyer consultation. We sit down with our clients and we go over, what it looks like to make an offer, what it looks like to look at property, how we look at property, how we ask for different costs from the seller. Well, some of that is gone out the window.
It's gone.
So my buyer consultation is now saying, how are we going to win this offer? Well, number one, I back up. I say, hey, you got to be ready on the dime to go out and look for property. Okay, you got to have a good agent that's going to always be looking for property for you at all times.
Get you a good agent that is searching our MLS every day for you. I do that for my buyer clients right now. When I get to the office, I search and see if anything new's coming to market. And look, the best thing you can do as a buyer, especially in this market, is be ye ready.
Be ye ready.
Okay?
Yes.
And that means, number one, having your finances set up.
Yes.
Okay.
That means getting a mortgage already pre-qualified for a mortgage.
The thing is, you're gonna have to be as aggressive as you possibly can come up with.
That's
all right. So that's gonna mean, number one, having your finances set up, and not just having your loan in place, but who your loan is with. Okay. Makes a difference.
It does in this market, because you have some. Because we're kind of small town city. We're not, we're not Atlanta. Listing agents sometimes can have some conversation about who is this lender I've never heard of. Get a mortgage today. That's a company. I've never heard of. And they're scared of some of the bigger brands.
And that's what we're saying. And nothing against out of state lenders, because there are some great lenders that are out of state. But when you're thinking about how am I going to put my best foot forward in order for me to get this house? Number one, I need my letter saying that I'm pre-approved. Okay. And then who that pre-approval letter is with matters.
It carries some weight.
It carries some weight. If I'm a seller and I get an offer and, two of them are like neck and neck and I'm trying to make a decision, one is with maybe a local bank that I've heard of, and then one is with some,
Get my mortgage today.
Right, getmymortgagetoday.com, whatever. And, I'm like, oh, okay. And, chances are, because the seller is in control.
That's right. The seller makes the decision. People don't recognize that. The agents don't make a decision on what offer gets chosen. The seller is ultimately the deciding factor.
We made an offer for a client recently, actually. And they had another offer, and that was higher. And they ended up actually going with our offer because they knew our client.
They knew our client.
And they wanted them to have the house.
They sure did.
This was a situation where a seller took the lower offer.
Right.
So don't think as a buyer that, oh, I gotta, make my offer this much higher in order to get the house. Sometimes it could be other things.
That's right.
Maybe you're a
veteran.
A veteran,
right.
and maybe the seller's a veteran.
That's exactly right.
You just never know. So,
but the seller, to end it all, the seller is the ultimate deciding factor.
Seller's the ultimate decider. We don't make the decision.
We can't even really, as a buyer's agent, you have limited. You don't have any conversation with the seller. All the conversations is with your client, the buyer, and so you're trying to guide them on making the best offer.
Right.
I do remember we had a situation, and you just had the situation where the young lady. Because this is some tough parts to be in a buyer role.
Yeah.
But the young lady had done all the inspections, had the appraisal, and they were just with the wrong mortgage company.
They were with the wrong lender.
They were with the wrong lender.
And I'm telling you, and there's so much that goes into this,
And she was a first-time home buyer.
Having a good agent,
yes.
okay, with a good name,
yes.
all right. I was able to get my buyer this contract because of our good name.
The relationship
we have with other agents. So they, and they went with our contract. Now, my buyer had a lender, a little shaky lender, but she wanted to use that lender, so I couldn't say, okay, you can't use it. All right.
That's right.
And it just so happened 2 months later,
y'all stayed in contract. Those sellers stayed in contract two months. Trying, because they had then become invested with the buyer. They wanted her to have the house.
They had did home inspection repairs. My buyer had paid for appraisal. She paid for inspections. She, she's moving out of her apartment.
Yeah, she had given up. Given her apartment up.
And I was fighting for her. I was,
the seller was fighting for her.
I was letting the lender have it on email. She was letting them have it, and it just never came out of underwriting. And finally, the seller had to move on.
Yep, they had another.
And
offer.
so I'm back out here now, fighting with my buyer, trying to find her a house. So now, what did I do? With this buyer, I advised her. I said, look, you may want to go to somebody local.
Shop your mortgage.
And she did. And so she went to someone local. She's gotten her pre-approval in place, okay? And so we're shopping.
Right.
We're out here shopping. We've made offers on several homes that we have not won.
Yeah.
But I believe.
Yes, we believe.
That,
yes, we're praying for her because we really want her to be in the house. And those are the things you got to have. Just to recap, you've got to have your pre-approval letter.
Right.
You get before you even go in the car because right now when you're making offers, the seller is expecting that your offer is going to be accommodating by a pre-approval.
Right.
You also have got to have some money.
Yeah. You got to save some money.
You got to save some money. See, years ago, I used to write because the sellers could pay up to 6% toward the buyer's closing cost,
which would cover pretty much all that you need for your closing costs. Well, now, to be competitive with the next offer, we're seeing offers with no closing costs. Matter of fact, zero closing costs has become the norm.
The norm. It's become the norm.
Unbelievable. It just, a year or so ago.
I was trained. I was always trained.
Always $5,000, $4,500,
including warranty.
Warranty.
We want a fence.
Yeah, we want this.
Yeah,
we want
the
that.
refrigerator.
And the sellers were doing it, but that was kind of the buyer's market, where the buyer had more control, where there were more houses available, than there were buyers to buy them. So then they had the control. So. You got to save some money, okay?
Yep.
You more than likely you're gonna have a down payment, typically between 3.5%. In some cases 5 or 10%. So you want to save your money, and then so that's just your down payment.
Right.
Then you have closing costs.
Talk a little bit about, because I think let's talk about closing costs. People do not recognize this. Down payment is the difference between the loan that the bank is going to give you and
the contract price. Right. You put a certain percentage down.
If it's 3.5% down, the bank is expecting you
need $3,500.
That's right.
That's my down payment. Then you also have your cost associated with closing the loan. Closing costs is, it's pretty much fees.
Yeah.
The appraisal, the bank fees.
They escrow your escrows. They set when you close.
Your prepaid items.
They set your prepaid items up.
That's your insurance and your taxes and things of that nature. All that encompasses this bucket of funds you need for closing, which in most cases
could be $5,000 to $7,000
or $6,000.
On higher end, you may be 10 to 20.
So as opposed to when we used to, ask the seller to pay for that, now you gotta have, pretty much your closing cost and your down payment.
That's right.
So that's step number 2 is now having some money.
The good thing about it though is if you have those things in place. And you've got, because banks are lending, that's helping us in our market today. Banks are lending, so we're not having such a tough time with people getting pre-qualified because they've been studious over the years and so forth. But you've got to be ready to play ball. You cannot. We're going to talk about this as we get ready to go to a break.
Hi, I'm Felix Walker, Principal Broker here at W Real Estate LLC. And I'd like to thank you for visiting our webpage. Here at W Real Estate, we're a full-service brokerage. We specialize in residential, commercial, land, and property management.
We are located in Madison, Mississippi, serving the needs of all Mississippi residents. W Real Estate is a faith-based real estate firm. We believe in the power of prayer. We believe that God set this company aside to be a servant to others in the real estate industry. We believe in seeing miracles happen right here in the forum of real estate. So trust us and call us today, because that is our belief, is that we are God's servants.
W Real Estate is a company of trust, a company of integrity. We believe in doing the right thing at all times. At the end of the day, it's not about the money. It's about serving the needs of our clients. We're going to take the time to sit down and educate you on the entire buying process. We won't just throw you in our car and go look at houses. We want to bring you into our office, sit down, answer any questions you may have to help you understand the entire buying process.
Purchasing a home is a very exciting time, but it also can be kind of stressful. That is where we come in. We take away your stress. We work with you from start to finish, from finding that perfect home, contracting, negotiating the sale to best benefit you the most, to staying with you along the whole process so that you seamlessly go right into closing with no stress at all. That is one of the main reasons that you want to hire us to represent you in purchasing a home.
We're listing specialists. We're performance-based. Our main goal is to help our sellers get the most amount of money for their homes in the least amount of time.
Not only are we listing specialists, we are marketing specialists. We employ aggressive marketing strategies to get your home sold fast. We communicate with our sellers often to keep them in loop of what's going on with their property. We also are relocation specialists. A lot of our sellers are not just trying to stay in town, they're trying to relocate to other areas. We take on the ownership of maximizing our efforts to bring you to close.
Thanks again for visiting our website. Feel free to contact us or one of our experienced agents today.
Remember, God is the heart of our business. We look forward to working with you soon. Oh my gosh.
And we're back.
So I was saying before the break, you can, as a buyer, listen to me, this is a key, you got to get it. You don't have the same amount of time that you had in other markets to make a decision. Your decision has got to be quick because just that many people are making the decision. And so, for instance, you can't, it used to be that I would show the house to the wife and the husband was working.
The husband's coming back.
Bring him back the next day.
Then we're going to bring the kids.
No.
Then we're coming back. We got to measure some rooms.
Oh, no. Before we make a decision.
The sellers will be getting excited. Well, I think they're going to make an offer. But
no, there is no second showings.
No second showings.
The second showings are out the window.
That's done.
Literally, you need to be ready because a lot of times when I've gotten to houses, we are lined up. We are lined up, waiting in our cars to just be herded in to see the property.
Right.
In fact, I showed a house on Sunday. I got there. The people were running a little bit late. I was saying to myself, now y'all are on my time. But I was gracious. Being the president of Central Mississippi Realtor Association, I gave some grace. I did not want to come across as the angry bear. And so I allowed the people to come in and come out. But at the end of the day, when I took my client in, I said, hey, if this is a house y'all like, you do understand that we got to already be almost having to make offers in my car. In fact, we have a tag team. We just did this on Friday.
Yeah.
You went out and showed a house
And
to your buyer.
I called my lovely wife. I said, hey, I need you to make an offer.
And I just got on Instagram and said, I'm ready to turn my brain off. The broker says that I can turn my brain off and that you were coming home and we were going to go head to the
Can't
swimming
turn it
pool.
off. No.
He called and said, hey, I need you to get an offer out for me. Now, he was in the car after showing the house. He said, I need you to go ahead and get an offer out for me. I was so trained that I'm just typing over the last offer. That's how crazy it is. We don't have to even start a new document. You just change out the addresses and so forth. So that's the kind of crazy part about this process.
Yeah, being ready. So we talked about having your financing set up, hopefully with, a good reputable lender.
Yes, that's it.
Even if it's out of state, but a good reputable lender. Having your money saved, you just got to have it now. That's just where we are.
That's right.
And then the next thing would be,
making a decision. Yeah, quick.
You got to go sit when it hits the market.
Yes.
You got to go see it.
You got to go see it immediately. In fact, we have been, back before we were in this place, my sweet little clients would call and they'd say, hey, I want to see this tomorrow, or can you check on this? We're now in our beds, on our phones, scrolling, looking for houses, and then when something pops up, it's like a hot cake, especially if it's good. You're just like, oh my God, you're dialing them at 10 o'clock at night. Hey, what time can you see this house in the morning? Or do you, in fact, the other thing we did a lot this year that we hadn't done, we did some last year, is we've been doing virtual showings, which means if my client cannot get there, we go and then have to do FaceTime and show the property. We've done that a lot with spouses.
We've done a lot. We've done a lot.
So I think that makes a big difference too.
Being ready to make that offer, and then you gotta having a good agent to help you be creative with your offer.
Yes, that's good.
Because we're seeing offers where and we represent a lot of sellers also, but we're seeing people make offers with no inspections.
Yes.
And
waiving appraisals.
I don't recommend that.
Yeah.
I definitely don't recommend not having a home inspection now,
especially with first-time home buyers. That's
especially
so
with first-time home buyers, unless it's an investment, you're getting a really good deal on it. But when you paying top dollar, or in some cases, which the offer I made just some days ago was $10,000 over the list price. Okay, I did not advise my buyer, even though the buyer they can, if they want to say I don't want to have a home inspection, they can, but. I didn't advise that, but to
structured the deal somewhat.
To be creative, right? We made it contingent on a home inspection, but we put in there that we wouldn't ask for any repairs from the home inspection. So basically, we're saying, hey, we're willing to buy this property as is, but I still want to have it inspected
just
to see
know what's
here.
There. That's right.
Right, because if it's something here that I don't like, then my buyer can walk away. But waiving an inspection is like, woo.
Oh, yeah, that's scary.
Even on a new construction.
Yeah. The first house we built, the second house we built, you remember the house we built? And it was cold. We closed in December. And we didn't have a home inspection, but back then we didn't think to have one, and we built it, so we just thought we knew everything. Oh. Well, I'm not going to call myself stupid, but now if you want to call yourself that, that's fine too. Well, then you can do that. But what I'm saying is, we woke up that morning and it was frozen stiff. Oh. They never connected the heater. You remember that? The heater. This was a new construction house,
anything
and they never
can go wrong.
The heater.
But we're seeing offers where people are waiving appraisals.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So I had a buyer. They were coming in from California, right? They're in the market out there. Yeah. He said they were both. He was a pilot, and she's a flight attendant. They were buying a second home here in town. And so this is the difference about how we can maneuver in the buyer's market. So my clients, they had already kind of gotten sideways with another agent and another offer. Fired that agent and they landed with me. Right. So here I am going in behind another agent to try to untangle all the goofy stuff that they had gone through. And we make an offer on a property that was out in Brandon. And the house, you remember the house in Brandon? And it was the highest house we'd ever seen in that neighborhood, in the history of that neighborhood, right?
Right.
And I told them, I said, look, they want the offer was, let's just say it was $585. And we were competing up against somebody that was going to get rid of the home inspection and get rid of the appraisal.
Right.
And my buyer wanted to go over $20,000. I think it was somewhere around there. And so now we were going over what I thought the house would even bring in terms of an appraisal. When the paper hit the table, the agent called and said, Rashida, my seller is looking to go with your offer. But I need to tell you two things. One, the square footage of this house, some of it is in the pool house that's not even heated and cool. And so I remember saying, well, how in the world y'all gonna get the price? And she said, well, here's the caveat. They're gonna go with your client's offer if they remove the appraisal contingency. And so here she was asking me to advise my client that no matter what it appraised, the buyer was gonna pay the difference of the appraised value at closing. Right. So if it only appraised for $400,000, they were expecting my buyer to pay another $180,000 over appraised value.
People are doing it.
And I told her, I said, you know what? I cannot advise that. No. So we moved from there. Wait. So we moved from there. We go over to a house in Reunion.
Right.
It hits the market. Just so happened was our next door neighbor that we moved away from. Hits the market. I knew the house very well. I know that market very well. So I know what something should appraise for us. I'm confident in certain neighborhoods, knowing what the appraised values are and how we get appraised values. So I go into that offer. I say to her, look, this is going to sell overnight. So we have got to be very aggressive. And I did an acceleration clause.
Oh, acceleration clause.
Hey,
all right,
I was ready to go. So let's go with the acceleration clause. How did we win this one?
Acceleration clause. This is something new we are seeing that agents are using for their buyers, which is why you want to hire a realtor. Okay?
That's right. That's
you
right.
would know about acceleration clause.
No, wouldn't even know how to write it.
Hired a professional. So
I go in. So I go into the situation. I know I'm gonna be good on appraised value. So I'm already going with extreme, knowing that I can kind of go up, bump up. So what I did was I made the offer for list price. And let's just use the number 485. I said, we're going to give you 485 for this property. And my buyer is willing to go up in increments of, I think it was $2,000 to a maximum of $515. That was what he was willing to pay.
Over any other offer.
Over any other offer that came and hit the table.
So you get that. So basically, to win the bid, you're saying, hey, look, here's my offer.
Yeah.
It's $485. But should you get another offer that's higher than mine, I'll pay $2,000 more than that offer up to a certain amount.
Right. Gotta have a max out. Right.
And so we're doing that now with our buyers' offers. We're doing these acceleration clauses. Now, how do we know the seller ain't lying and say, so we do put in there that
they have to present
and show us that they got this offer.
That's right. Proof.
So those are ways that we're using to help our buyers get
and we were in a multiple offer situation, and so I did the acceleration clause, and then I did one more thing. This was tricky, but I'm in a market that I'm comfortable in. We removed the appraisal. Now, here's why. This was not a first-time home buyer. They were buying a second home in Mississippi.
This was a second home.
This was a vacation. This was like a resort property to them, right? They were not buying a house that was going to be
and they still weren't necessarily overpaying.
No. They weren't overpaying. So I knew that even if we had left the appraisal at play, we were still going to hit the value because I knew what the market would bring in that area. So I was comfortable in that process, and they won the bid.
And let me say this:
that house has been on the market for 3 hours.
Right, man, and I mean, it feels so good to win bids now.
It does. It's like lottery tickets.
I just got one, an investor client actually, who had to pay list price for something, and he was able to win his bid.
And this is in Pelahatchie.
Yeah, Pelahatchie. I drove 45 minutes, sell a darn house.
What?
But
they got multiple offers in Pelahatchie? Yeah, they got them everywhere.
But I'll say this for buyers out there.
Yes.
You got, pack your patience.
Oh, okay? Yes. That's
We've had buyers that have gotten extremely frustrated and they've given up.
Yes.
We've had several to say, I'm done. I'm just going to rent an apartment.
Yes.
I'm just going to do this. I'm going to wait till the market changes. But this is the market.
That's it.
Okay, that's what I'm saying to you. Most buyers are thinking or got this false thought that the market's going to go back down.
It's not.
It's going to change. The market is not going back down. It might go to a buyer's market at some point, but now the prices are the prices.
The prices are the prices.
This is the new normal.
That's right.
And, we've seen this.
Yes.
We've been selling out 16 years, so we've seen houses.
Yeah.
Appreciate. Man, I was thinking about the neighborhood, Harvard Crossing.
Yes, we sold lots of houses in Harvard Crossing.
Some houses were
125, 135,000.
150, 160, 170,000.
Now they're 200,
way
almost
over 200,000.
Right.
So they just keep going up. I mean, that's what real estate does. I mean, just look at places like California and stuff like that.
That's right.
And
see, this about that buyer that came out of California, he said that they would go to houses in California. Do you remember, babe? And he said they would open them up, and it'd be like a lottery ticket. He said there would be 30 to 40 people standing in line just to get into the open house. And they were coming in hand with their cash, in hand. They were coming in hand with, their offers already written out with their agents. You got to have somebody working on your behalf in this market. We used to say all the time, oh, we don't have that out here in Mississippi. We're having a California-like market.
And I can't say it enough. You got to hire a realtor.
Yeah,
I'm not just saying it because we're realtors, but I don't know how you navigate this market without one.
No.
Of course, we want you to hire us, but at all costs, hire a realtor.
Hire me.
Or if you can have the privilege of working with the broker, which is a big privilege.
It's a big privilege to work with the broker.
All this knowledge in my head.
You are good at contracting.
I'm very good, and have somebody read the darn contract.
You got to read the contract.
You got to do that.
Yeah, but hey, we're coming up on another break. We'll pick back up on contracts, and we're going to talk about sellers.
And we're going to close out with talk about sellers.
Yeah. Yes.
And we're back.
Babe, you don't really have to announce that we're back. If you just look at the screen, they're going to see we're back.
That's what you're supposed to say.
I think he believes he's a sportscaster.
No, and I'm supposed to say that, right?
But anyway,
and we're back.
So let's get into this. So I want to say this, and then I'm going to let the buyers go. I think the other thing you've got to recognize is, as an agent, we have some expertise. And out of anything in the world, we want to see you successful in buying a house. Mm-hmm. We don't want to not sell a house. Does that make sense? And so you've got to, if you hire a buyer's agent, you really truly have to trust that they're going to know what they're doing and take you to the end. And so you got to have some patience. You do have to have some understanding that we are working as hard as we can to get you to the end result, and we're not going to lead you in the path of just unrighteousness. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. We're not going to advise. We advise clients on different in different levels.
Right.
The example I just gave, hey, I advised them because their purchase was a different reasoning, in a sense, in terms of that, and they had some cash to get out if they needed to get out of. This is not a forever home for them. They're going to be able to turn that house around. Right. My first-time home buyers, I have to be careful with them because that's your first asset.
Exactly.
That's the very first.
Become a buyer's market again, but then the interest rates are higher.
And your prices are going to be higher.
You know, so.
I don't think we're going down in price. Lumber prices are up. Everything is up. I went the other day to get something.
Buy you a house.
That was. I remember it not being as expensive at the grocery store, and I just said to myself, "This is just ridiculous. Don't even worry about cereal."
I didn't think you looked at prices at the grocery store.
I don't look at prices.
Just put stuff in the bag.
I look at prices
and whip out a card, and they say swipe or no swiping. So I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry,
if they decline it, and I say, wait one second, I got another one.
Try this one.
And I don't have any shame. You know, but that's because you manipulate my funds. You should put my money in my account on a regular basis so that I can keep up. And now you have to make me use different
stuff. Just put it in the basket. Anyway.
You eat good, don't you?
You know.
But anyway, so
sellers. Let's talk about sellers.
Yes, because we got a little bit of time.
Sellers navigating in this market. So
I have always loved being a listing agent, and I really love being a listing agent in this market because you really do have the command. It's just like, before we heard this old adage that if you were a listing agent, you were the bosses of the market.
Right.
And
employers.
so we were the employers of the market because everybody had to come to me to get what they needed. And so it's good to function that way, but we've got to be smart as a seller's agent.
Right. Because now you're getting 10 offers on your property.
Yes.
And you got to maneuver through which one to go with.
The other thing is
it's stressful for the seller.
It's stressful for the seller, but you also have sellers who want to buy another house. So I got a great example. I have a very good client that I love so dearly. And so we sat down to talk, and I said, hey, before we go, and their worry was relevant. They said, if we can put our house on the market, but gosh, Rashida, we don't have anywhere to go. And so I don't want to sell my house, and I don't know where I'm going because I can't go home to my parents. They've got a full family. And I said, well, you got to trust me.
Uh-oh.
I said, babe, I've been doing this all year, but you got to trust me. You got to trust me that I'm good at project management and contract management.
Oh, let me be quiet.
Right. Okay. So at any rate, I said, let's get your house ready for market. Right. I timed when we would put it on the market that week, and I said, I'm going to drop that house on a Friday night to open up showings for it on Saturday morning so that y'all could be gone the entire day, so that when we go make offers on the house you want to buy, you're going to be contingent on a close because most sellers like yourself are not taking contingent offers. And if you are a seller and you've got to sell that particular asset to buy the next asset, you cannot put one before the other. You really got to dispose the asset that you got to get, what I call the cash cow. You got to get it under contract so that you can be somewhat aggressive in making an offer on another property.
Because you're going to be, as a seller, you're going to become a buyer if you buy another house.
That's
and you can't. To make an offer and saying, well, I also got a house to sell.
Right.
Chances are you ain't never find nothing.
And one of her questions was, and I felt so dear to me because I like educating my clients. And she said, Miss Rashida, I just want to go. They call me Miss Rashida. That's fine. She said, Miss Rashida, I just want to go. Why do we have to do the contingency? I said, well, listen up, kid. I said, if I don't make this house contingent and something goes wrong with selling your house or what have you, you're now in a two-payment process. You can't use it
as an out. Yeah.
You can't use it as an out. I don't have a way to get you. I don't have a way for you not to have to perform in this contract. Well, you can lose your deposit, and then some sellers can get mad enough to take you to court and sue you for a specific performance. And so, as a protection, I said, you got to trust me. We're going to find something. And here's how we have to. If you got a good seller's agent that is also a buyer's agent in that same transaction, I had to start doing stuff like calling people on Facebook, putting in feelers and saying, hey, do y'all got something coming up? I had to go through my agents in the office and say, hey, y'all got something coming up in these areas for this price point. I got an active buyer ready to go. And that's how we won the next house that we're going to. Contracted on both of them at the same time. We sold the one she was selling on Saturday. She contracted on the one she was buying on Sunday. Closing both of them on 8/24.
Bravo. You are.
Does that mean I get a bonus from the broker?
I'm going to give you one of these cards that you can swipe. See what happens.
I think that's bonus word.
Pray over it first and then swipe.
Well, it's good that you say prayer, because it takes a lot of prayer in this process.
It takes a lot of prayer.
Yes, praying for our clients, praying for sellers and buyers.
But sellers, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's really good for you.
Sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit right now.
Yes.
You know, and if you ever thought about selling your home,
yes,
you don't want to miss this window either.
Yes.
Because we are seeing people making just an enormous amount of money because the prices, demand is so high.
Yeah, a lot of our first-time home buyers netted, some of them netted, $50,000 and $60,000 this year.
Yeah.
In selling that house. And if I put the house on the market a year ago or back in 19, they would not have seen that kind of record net profit.
Now is the time to sell.
Yes,
you got. I mean, if you don't wait.
And look, you don't have to have a perfect house. We've had some houses we put on the market that were on the market for 3 or 4 years before it ever sold, and they sold in 2021.
So pretty much everything selling right now.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, and this is not to toot our own horn, but hey, hiring a brokerage that is creative.
Yeah.
And we do when we list homes, we do talk to our sellers about the market. Okay. And of course the sellers have to agree to it, but we talk to them about letting us list those homes in our office exclusively. Okay, so it becomes a exclusive listing. So only we have that listing. Okay, and we keep it in house in our office. And what it does, it benefits our agents who have buyers. So only our office has it. So then, our agents. All right, so you hire one of our agents, chances are
they have some inventory.
We got some inventory in-house, all right? That's not available to everyone, but it's in-house, office exclusive, that you have a better chance of getting a home.
And it helps our sellers. I've got a seller right now that's getting ready to build a house on the coast. They've already contracted. She's building a house on the coast, and she cannot sell this house that's here in Madison. Right. And if I put it on the market, because it's in Stillhouse Creek, if I put that house on the market, multiple offers, I just went through a multiple offer process in Stillhouse Creek with another client. They had like 5 offers the first hour the house went on the market. And so I told her, I said, hey, I can't put your house on the market. If I do, I'm going to sell you from under it. And then they're going to want a 30 to 45-day close. You're probably not going to be able to do that. This house you're building is not going to be ready to October.
Wow.
So we got to figure this out. And so what she said was, hey, can't you put it in your she said, can you do a pocket listing? I said, well, I'm gonna do an office exclusive. Because with an office exclusive, a buyer who can stay somewhere for a little bit, but they want to buy that particular house, there's some room there, there's some negotiating there between that buyer and seller.
Right.
That
it can benefit both parties.
Both of them, exactly, to make that work. That's the other thing is, this year we did a lot of new construction.
Yes.
We've always operated in new construction. We've been doing new construction for years now. And when I say been doing new construction, representing builders, helping clients build houses, also representing a lot of builders building houses for specs. But that helped tremendously with buyers that couldn't win bids. We say, hey, can you wait 6 months? Can you wait 4 to 6 months and buy this house? Because at least
you're getting it. So
that's exactly right.
We've sold a lot of dirt, as I say.
We have.
But it helps you. And that all goes to what I started with having representation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If you don't get anything out of this podcast other than the fact I need representation,
let somebody work for you.
Let them work for you.
Let them work for you.
Right.
Let them work for you.
You got, as a buyer, you gotta have it. As a seller,
you gotta have it.
You gotta have it.
Yeah. You can get all kind of contracts and
if you're gonna get the most money, right? You could try to be for sale by owner, but you're not going to get the multiple offers that you can get by hiring a realtor to represent you.
Because you're not exposed. You're not
getting the exposure that you need.
That's right.
So hire us. Call W Real Estate or call your favorite realtor.
Yes.
But we'd love to help you, definitely.
Yeah, and call one of the things. There's 20 agents that's over there ready to work.
Boy, there's some aggressive
agents. I have some that have been waiting. Well, I have one agent that woke up before day, ready to go take her client out to see a house so they could be the first one there at 7 o'clock that morning.
So we work hard, and we love to work for you, whether you're a buyer or a seller. You can give us a call at 601-499-0952.
Yes.
Our website's up there. You can inbox us, whatever you need to do. I mean, we ready.
Well, quickly, because we're down to the last 30 seconds, so I got to get this in. We are coming back, and the next time we come back, we're going to dedicate the next podcast to relationships.
And
the love part of real estate. So we're going to talk about communication in terms of marriage.
How to stay
married and communicate effectively. So y'all join us back in 2 weeks. We'll be back, and we're going to talk about communication and marriage at 6:30 on next Tuesday, and we're going to dive into that hard, y'all, so I can show you how, we stay in love in real estate,
So we love for you to join us, and thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much. This has been great.